Really quitting, huh?
Yeah, I have a soft spot for a woman's tears.
You got a lady crying over you, huh? Well, can't help that. Take care of yourself, alright.
Yeah? I shook hands with my coworker and friend, then left the scene. Thank you for always taking care of my sister. I'm her younger brother, Michael. Nice to meet you all. I greeted the people seated across from me.
You're Emily's brother, all right. Your greeting is so polite. Alice, you should learn from this.
He's going to be your brother-in-law. He's 25, close to your age of 22. You two should get along.
Upon hearing these words from her parents, the young woman gave me a sharp look, as if she was appraising me. Then, without meeting my eyes, she greeted me in a small voice that sounded like she wasn't particularly interested in being friendly. Nice to meet you, she mumbled. Perhaps he was embarrassed by her curt attitude. A man hastily tried to explain.
So sorry. She's a little shy around new people.
At the man's words, Alice turned her head away.
It's all right, Eugene. My little brother doesn't sweat the small stuff, so don't worry about it.
The man called Eugene breathed a sigh of relief at the woman's words.
Thanks, Emily. Sorry, Michael.
The woman called Emily turned to me with a smile.
It's okay, right, Michael?
Yeah, I don't care at all, sis. Eugene and his sister Alice, and their parents, along with me and my sister Emily, were seated in a private room at a high-end restaurant. This was a meeting between Eugene's family and my sisters. Eugene, I feel at ease entrusting my sister to you. Isn't that right, Mom and Dad? I said this as I looked at the two picture frames on the table. One held a picture of my mother. The other, a picture of my father. Both my parents had passed away in an accident when I was in middle school. At that time, my sister, who was still in high school, took on more part-time jobs and worked hard for my sake. I was genuinely happy that she was getting married. I'm not bothered in the least by Alice's attitude. Eugene, please, take care of my sister. As I bowed my head and said this, Emily, perhaps overcome by emotion, she tearfully hugged me.
You'll be alone in the Thompsons' household, but you'll always be my brother, okay?
Seeing us like this, Eugene's parents also teared up.
Of course, we welcome Emily into our family, but you can also consider us as your real parents, Michael.
Yeah, and if you'd like, think of Alice and Eugene as your real siblings. Oh, how about this? Let's exchange contact information. Here, Alice, exchange your contact details with Michael, who's going to be your brother-in-law.
At their father's suggestion, Alice grimaced and said, Come on, urged by their father, a reluctant Alice took out her phone. You don't have to force yourself, I thought, trying not to show my inner amusement, and I also took out my phone. You only need to contact me when you need something, I said, displaying my contact information QR code for Alice to scan. After a little while, I received a text message from Alice. It was a cat emoji with a message saying, Nice to meet you. Seems like she's not a bad kid at heart. Well, nice to meet you, I said to Alice, who turned away once again. It seems like it's going to take time to become friends. With a wry smile, I turned to her parents this time. Again, please take care of my sister. To my sincere request, the parents nodded in agreement. And so, it was decided that Emily would marry Eugene. The wedding went off without a hitch, the marriage license was submitted, and Emily and Eugene officially became wife and husband. Emily left the house we lived in and moved to the house where she'd live with Eugene, leaving me alone at last. Phew, finally got rid of Emily, huh? I looked around the quiet house. Then, I started to recall the times when I lived with Emily. Back when Emily was here, it was all get up early, don't be picky about food, go to bed early, it was noisy. But now that she's gone, it's quiet. It's lonely, isn't it? Right, I have to go shopping. I remember wanting to buy something. With that in mind, I slung my shoulder bag over and left the house. On the train to my destination, I was checking directions on my smartphone when a news headline caught my eye. Beauty hunt? Beauty hunt, what's that? Reading the news article, it seemed that in the area I was heading to, there had been several cases of women being forcefully taken away by a group of 3 men. Since all the victims were beautiful women, the public had named the incident as Beauty Hunt. Well, with that thought, I closed my smartphone. It doesn't concern me since I'm a manual. And I got off at my destination station and walked through the city. Just then, I spotted Alice, Eugene's younger sister, and my Sil walking by. I instinctively hid in the shadow of a building and watched Alice secretly. Oh, Alice, despite the dangerous situation, why is she here? I covertly followed Alice from the shadows. Alice is quite a beauty. Seemingly unaware of it herself, all the men near Alice were turning around to look at her. Regardless of the beauty hunt, I was worried that some weird guys might stalk her. She seems to be going into that store. Inside, there would be other people's eyes, so it should be safe. Thinking this, I was about to stop tailing from the shadows when it happened.
Hey, beautiful lady. You're cute, aren't ya?
Where you from, or are you a local?
Alone, wanna hang with us?
A group of 3 flashy guys started to chat up Alice. Alice, smartphone in hand, looked at the trio suspiciously.
No, thank you.
Don't make that face. It spoils your cute looks.
Yeah, don't be so cold.
Come on, let's have some fun with us.
The trio started touching Alice's arm, shoulder, and back.
Stop it. I'm going to call for help.
At the same moment Alice said this, my phone vibrated with a buzz. For a moment, my eyes shifted to my smartphone in hand, a single message displayed on the screen.
Help me.
It was a message from Alice. Had she remembered the words I had said when we exchanged contact information a while back? You can contact me when something happens. Those jerks. I leapt from the shadow of the building, and the first place I ran to was where Alice was. Alice. As I headed towards Alice, she shook off the hand of the trio that had grabbed her and clung to my arm.
This man, he's my boyfriend. So.
At Alice's spur-off-the-moment lie, I was also taken aback and exclaimed, "What? Shoot. I should have gone along with her." Hurriedly, I held Alice's hand, and whether it was out of fear or not, Alice strongly squeezed my hand back. The trio, looking at me with scorn, suddenly started to laugh.
This guy is your boyfriend? Seriously? Haha.
A dorky glasses-wearing guy with shaggy hair. Haha.
We're definitely a better choice than this guy. Haha.
Amid the insults, I pulled Alice's hand. We're leaving now. Excuse us. As I tried to leave the scene, the trio blocked our path.
Whoa, not so fast, I warned.
If you want to leave, you'll have to leave her behind.
If you don't want trouble, better stay back. We're not afraid to take you down.
One of them sneered, the lanky guy threatening with a smirk. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught one of them flashing a knife, careful to only let me see. I sighed deeply. Really now? I took off my glasses. Then I carefully placed them in my fanny pack, running my hand through my unkempt hair. Guess I'll have to clean up the trash. My words seemed to flip a switch in the trio who had previously been grinning. Who are you calling trash? One of them lunged at me. Swiftly, I sidestepped, grabbing his outstretched arm with one hand, and with a twist, used his momentum to throw him over my shoulder. He didn't move after that, possibly unconscious. The other 2 looked furious. You think you're so great. One yelled, "We're going to kill you." They both charged at me, one with a fist, the other with his knife. I grabbed both their arms, twisted them in opposite directions, and threw them aside just like their friend.
Ouch, that hurts.
I think you broke my arm. What are you going to do about this?
Both were writhing in pain, immobilized by the shock. Hey, Alice, could you call the police? She had been watching the scene in silence. Alice, still looking shell-shocked, managed to stutter out an agreement and dialed 911 on her cell phone. To our luck, a patrol car was nearby and 2 officers arrived within about 10 minutes. The arriving officers looked stunned at the scene before them. The shock was not just for the scene, but one of the officers recognized me.
Michael, is that you, Michael?
I recognized the face of the police officer. You, Thomas, right. Finished your stint at the precinct, I see.
Yeah, what about you? You doing okay in the private sector?
Well, fair to middling. But more importantly, could you nab those guys for me? They were resorting to violence, even had knives on them.
It seems like they're already apprehended. They just had some bad luck.
No, the one with bad luck was me.
Well, I guess that's true. You're just a civilian now. My bad.
As Thomas, the cop, and I exchanged words, Alice looked perplexed and interjected, Seeing Alice's confused expression, Thomas clapped me on the shoulder.
What's the matter, Michael? Haven't you explained it to your girlfriend?
No, she's not my girlfriend.
Don't be so modest. She probably wants to know, right?
When Thomas said this to Alice, she seemed really curious and nodded silently.
Well, this guy, he used to be in the SWAT.
SWAT?
It's a special police unit.
Now, for some reason, I'm in a cafe with Alice.
So, you're saying you used to be a cop, Michael?
After being questioned and released by the police 2 hours after the incident. I tried to take Alice home, but she said she was thirsty and wanted some tea, and instead of buying a drink from a nearby vending machine, I was made to walk all the way to a cafe. On top of that, I had to foot the bill for our drinks and cake, and now we're sitting across from each other at a table. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it.
I looked it up on my phone just now, and it seems like you have to be really outstanding to get into the SWAT. Why did you quit if you were so good?
Well, there's a reason for that.
A reason?
My sister, she cried.
Emily?
I remembered the tear-streaked face of my sister, who rarely cries. It was a year ago. I had done well in police academy, joined the riot police for a year, and was then selected to be a member of the SWAT. 3 years after being selected for the SWAT, a horrendous incident occurred. It was a bus hijacking, and the perpetrator had a handgun. When firearms are involved, the SWAT is deployed. I was also deployed for this incident.
All right, we're going to storm the bus. Just like in the simulation we did earlier, Team A will rescue the hostages, and Team B will subdue the perpetrator. Don't screw up.
Roger that. I was on Team B.
Storm the bus.
At the command, we in the SWAT stormed the bus with our shields. It was a plan to subdue the perpetrator by overwhelming them with numbers and shields. I was at the very front. If things kept going as they were, we could safely subdue the perpetrator. But there was one miscalculation. The perpetrator had a firearm with piercing power, different from what we had anticipated. Bang, bang! 2 gunshots rang out. 1 bullet penetrated my shield, and the other penetrated my unprotected shoulder. I felt time slow down between hearing the gunshots and getting shot. I almost fell backwards, but Thomas, who was behind me, propped me up with his shield, and I snapped back to reality. Damn, I was about to lose consciousness. Regaining my footing, I charged at the perpetrator. Perpetrator subdued. Despite 1 casualty, the hostages were safely rescued and the operation was a success. I, the injured party, collapsed on the spot as soon as the mission was over. I was rushed to the hospital and underwent emergency surgery. When I opened my eyes, there was my sister, her eyes swollen from crying. Osis. But before I could finish calling her, she yelled at me.
Idiot.
Yeah, is that the first thing you say to your brother, who's just come back from a life-or-death mission?
I know you became a cop, but what's with this terrible injury? I wasn't informed about this.
I had no choice. It's a job I can't talk about to family. please understand. As I asked her with a bitter smile, tears started streaming down her face. Seeing my sister like this, a rare sight, I was taken aback.
I can't take it.
Hey, sis, please don't cry. While I was struggling to calm her down, she managed to say between sobs,
After Mom and Dad passed away. If you're gone too, what should I do?
even if I'm not around, you have Eugene, right? But instead, she shouted at me angrily, nobody can replace you. And then she burst into tears, wailing loudly,
Idiot, idiot, idiot. If you die, I swear, I will never hold a memorial service for you.
do you even intend to help me pass on?
If I let you, I will be all alone, you ungrateful brother. I won't forgive you for forgetting all the things I've done for you. I won't ever forgive you.
My sister kept hitting my chest as she cried, Ouch, sis, that's where I was shot, so stop hitting me, ouch. I somehow managed to grab her arm and stop her while enduring the pain from my wound. After a while, she seemed to calm down and her arm fell weakly.
You know, Eugene proposed to me.
Oh, are you kidding? Who in their right mind would propose to my violent sister? What a daredevil. Seems like my thoughts were showing on my face. My sister shot me a glare. No, number, it's nothing. After hastily saying that, my sister stopped glaring at me. Then she made a request.
So at least, live until I get married, and have a child, and that child gets married, and I have a grandchild.
Wait, so you're basically asking me to live a full life?
Answer me if you understand.
Yays? After that, my sister kept crying and I comforted her throughout the day. There's a 5-year term in the SWAT, and I was planning to return to the police force after a short while. But there's no guarantee that I won't face any danger as long as I continue being a cop, so...
Did you quit?
In response to Alice's question, I gave her a bitter smile and nodded. I can't defy Emily, and I'm weak to a woman's tears.
So, that's what happened.
Seeing Alice's indescribable expression, I gave her a gentle smile. Well, my experience wasn't wasted. After all, it helped me save you, Alice. Hearing this, Alice's face turned red and she looked away. I guess it's still going to take some time before we can get along. Feeling a little hurt by Alice's behavior, she turned her face back to me. And she stared at me? What's going on?
Michael, that glasses and that hairstyle, you might want to stop.
Alice said, baffling me with her suggestion. A question mark popped up in my head. Why?
You're not aware, are you, Michael?
She replied, looking inexplicably annoyed, then abruptly stood up from her seat.
I'll be heading home. Thanks for the meal.
She announced. Oh, let me walk you home. I quickly stood up and followed her. Throughout the walk, she didn't say a word. Unable to bear the silence, I decided to strike up a conversation. Hey, Alice, you seemed upset during the family meeting. Any particular reason? The question seemed to rub her the wrong way. She stopped in her tracks and frowned, making me regret my choice of topic. Of all the things I could have asked, why this? I wondered to myself. She said, avoiding eye contact.
You had taken off your glasses and properly styled your hair that day, hadn't you?
Oh, yeah. Having a biggish body frame, I usually tried not to intimidate people with my look. So, I usually wear non-prescription glasses and leave my hair messy. But I made an effort for the family meeting so I wouldn't be rude. It was a family meeting, after all. Why do you ask?
Looking directly into your eyes was embarrassing.
Why? I was confused, then she blushed, ruffling my hair. Whoa, what?
Yes, that's better. And put on your glasses.
Papa?
Hurry up.
Okay. The decisiveness in her voice caught me off guard. I hurriedly pulled out my glasses from my bag and put them on. Is this okay? I asked, unsure. Alice then met my gaze, which she'd avoided earlier.
Yes, just stay like this. It's easier to talk to you this way.
Okay? Although I didn't quite understand, Alice seemed content. I wasn't on her bad side, it seemed. With that realization, a wave of happiness washed over me and we resumed our walk. Once we reached her home, I was about to turn on my heel and say see you later, when she grabbed my arm. Alice.
Thank you.
Huh?
Thank you for helping me. I want to thank you properly.
Thank you. No, you don't have to thank me. As long as you're safe, that's. Before I could finish, she grabbed the collar of my shirt. Well, what are you doing, Alice? I exclaimed, startled as something soft touched my lips. I felt it only for a moment before realizing that Alice's face was inches away from mine and she was blushing furiously.
If I marry into the Thompsons, you won't be alone anymore, will you?
What do you? She started running towards her house before I could finish my sentence. Just as Alice stepped into the house, my smartphone buzzed. A message, I mumbled, looking at the screen. It was a message from Alice.
I'll cook a thank you meal next time. Is it okay if I do it at your place, Michael?
Reading this, I chuckled to myself. I thought I'd be lonely after my sister moved out, but it doesn't seem that way. I quickly typed a reply to her message. I'll be waiting,